Yo guys, what is up? Rutger here, back with better audio. And there's a lot going on in the markets, so we have to discuss what's going on. And also, I want to show you the newest updates to the platform, which are an absolute game changer again. So let's not waste more of your time and get right into it. So looking here at the overall dashboard, what you can see is that we added some boxes here with the overall risk sentiment, the most bullish news, the most bearish news, and the biggest COT shift. So yeah, you can already spot some extra opportunities. In the heat map, you can see all the scores like you're used from us, but also here in the intrinsic score and the new sentiment, what is going on per currency. So as you can see, has been some interesting scores like Euro SEK, which was an absolute beautiful play this week, absolutely skyrocketed yesterday. This is a trade I took myself personally, as well as you guys know that we have the notification system in place and there's more notifications coming, like for news articles, for scores, and much more. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, for the rest, we added a very big feature in the intrinsic analysis. So normally you would just see the scores, but now you can actually see why is a currency itself bullish or bearish, right? Based on the score, based on the news, and based on the COT data. So you can also in one overview can compare it to the other currencies. If we look, for example, at the euro, we can see that we added a narrative for every currency. So euro faces mixed signals from the Iran war's oil shocks, hammering the eurozone's growth and PMIs, while the ECB signals of potential rate hikes and rising inflations to offer some counterbalance. So these geopolitical tensions and trade deals add uncertainty, leaving no real clear direction. However, we always like to stack our confluences, right, to create a final bias. So this narrative is just something we added. The narrative looks at a lot of data and also evaluates every news article and sees like, okay, is this with the narrative or is this like completely against the narrative to adjust where needed, and is constantly checking for you. So you can just watch the platform, have this as your go-to tool. You don't need to check 10,000 sources or be constantly talking with your AI because it's just not the same, right? So, however, what we can see is that the intrinsic score has made a very big run up into Q1 because we came from minus 18 and we are now actually bullish, right? So also looking at the new sentiment and the news teams, we've seen some bearish to neutral news in the past days, but it's all also about the Iran war, right? And with the ceasefire now on the table, that means energy prices are likely to come down, and that's a massive boost for Europe. So euro buys is actually something I'm really interested in, and you can see all of the euro pairs when I select the euro. So in the table, you can always filter on a currency, and you can see every euro pair is bullish, right? Euro is also always the first instrument to be named in the pair, but still every pair is bullish. So pairs like Euro Swiss, Euro SEK, and even Euro USD, I think are very interesting pairs to long, right? It's always long a strong currency against a divergent weak currency to see the best results. So dive into the charts. What I was talking about last week regarding the dollar index is that we had a beautiful swipe over here at the 100 level, and the 100 level I've been talking about many times. This is just an historical, very strong support and resistance psychological level, right? Don't ask me why this works, but it works, right? So you have to take it into account. We see that we swipe major liquidity, first tap, second tap, and now even a third tap, also taking this weekly liquidity over here. So you just have to respect these kind of liquidity grabs, right? So, and what you've also seen a lot in the past is that after a trend that the dollar index likes to kind of like ping pong buyers and sellers, and we had seen a big recovery right into the February up until now. So I was already very hesitant to keep buying. as there was for me no clear confirmation, and I had to take into account like a swipe of the overall lows of this impulse. And that's exactly what happened overnight on the ceasefire, right? So again, if we look at the newsfeed, it's something we can very clearly see. If we select the dollar and euro, US Iran ceasefire to fuel Asia relief rally, strategists say. So de-escalation sparks risk on, immediately weakening the dollar via relief flows, right? The yen safe haven unwinds short term as risk appetite returns post the ceasefire, and oil bears pressure from East Hormuz risk. Yeah, that's of course logical if the oil price comes down once the economy starts working again. So yeah, I think very, very beautiful drop of those currencies, and this is exactly how you should trade it. So also in the risk sentiment, like we can see we're having a very big push in risk on. This is where it's based off. You can also see we kind of improved the dashboard, so you can see the currency risk sensitivity from risk off to neutral to overall risk on. And like the article is saying, if risk on returns, pairs like AUD JPY, NZD Swiss, and CAD JPY, are getting more interesting. Of course, there's still a difference between AUD and NZD. And if you look at, of course, again, the scores, you can see that the AUD is overall scoring better, especially in the news. So if you look at the analytics, you can see that the Australian dollar is overall very, very bullish still versus the New Zealand dollar, which is currently one of the weakest pairs, right? So if you are trading risk on, then still do your research about your risk on pair, right? So in this case, AUD clear winner over NZD. So we can also read about the narrative on AUD, right? So Australian dollar shows bullish momentum amid the Iran war's oil surge, which boosts energy exports, blah, 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 and a massive fiscal windfall while prompting RBA rate hikes and fuel tax cuts to counter inflation. Stronger household spending and new EU trade deals further support the currency, outweighing manufacturing slips and fuel shortages. So, clear winner over the New Zealand dollar. As you can see, all of the news and overall news sentiment is still very, very bullish. So Australian dollar longs, especially in the risk on sentiment, like no-brainer buys, guys. I've been saying this also for a long time. But to circle back, I think Euro USD, absolute beautiful, beautiful buys in our platform. Also, if you compare this to the price action, we have seen it rising again back to those 1.17 levels. Although we don't have all the confluences, right? Because dollar is the overall stronger currency when it comes to the score, when it comes to being a carry trade, and in the news with all the war headlines. When it shifts, when we have the ceasefire, of course, there's more confluences we need to take into account, right? So Euro USD, absolute beautiful play. I know some of the community members got in after this 4-hour fractal break, either with a tight stop or with a short stop. Euro Swiss, of course, we discussed this last week. Further longs, beautiful plays. Euro AUD, no-brainer. AUD being the stronger pair, clear winner here. We had some consolidation, but now we had the relief. Euro SEK dropping pretty hard, but again, earlier this week and earlier this month, beautiful push in line with those scores, and then it took out this overall liquidity before reversing again. So those were beautiful, beautiful plays, guys. If you're subscribed to the platform, you know you probably had these trades on your watch list. GU, also beautiful. GBNZD now finally reversing because this risk sentiment is reversing, right? Probably the same for GBP. AUD had a short pullback phase, but again, we know those pullbacks don't last. And in line with the overall fundamentals, we have been continuing after this fractal break. Beautiful hold into this order flow, and then just continue the move down. So congrats to everyone who took it. AUD NZD, guys, I talked about this trade 2 weeks ago. And just look how beautifully that played out. Like the overall trend just being up. If the fundamentals and the narrative don't change, nothing is going to change, guys. The pairs are just going to trend. And then especially with these markets, I mean, AUD JPY, I also entered this trade. I exited, I think, this morning over here for a beautiful risk to reward. Again, taking some liquidity, showing clear momentum shifts, and then when the fundamentals align, carry the risk off trade unwinds, and then help the carry trades come in again. Yeah, we see those beautiful moves. 80 Swiss, I mean, absolutely the same story. Beautiful swipe back into the demand, and boom, took off. Like all these moves, guys. I mean, all these moves just make sense once you know what's actually driving the market, right? And it has always been the vision with our platform, is to have all those fundamentals in one place so you can stay up to date on everything, and we keep improving, for you to stay up to date, and keep improving the platform so you can get the most out of your trading. So clearly all those dollar pairs dropping, right? I mean, no surprises there, but I think with EUGU there was the cleanest setups with those clear fractal breaks, and I think also the commodities are now seeing some relief as they were under pressure. For example, silver is risk off, but also a risk on asset. Why? Because it's used in industrial material, and with ceasefire, there will be more growth in the world economy. So more silver will be used, more copper will be used, also tied to the risk on sentiment, of course, and they will get a push. So let's hope for the world as well that the ceasefire holds, as it's bringing no one any good, of course. But yeah, for now, I guess watch those AUD pairs fly with the risk on sentiment. I guess watch the Euro pairs flies as well. I think EuroCAD, beautiful bounce back as well. Euro NOK is not my favorite pair. Euro NZD, yeah, NZD still being weak. Don't know where this exactly is going, as it's very trendy. But like I said, further dollar shorts I am interested in. Let's probably get like a pullback into this gap. DXY always tends to fill these gaps. But then I think we have another gap over here. So the target around 97.7 would be a beautiful target for me to then unwind some dollar shorts, to then possibly see a reversal again. So beautiful moves, guys. And that's where I want to finish it today. If you're not subscribed to the platform, make sure to check out the new update on the narratives, because this is an absolute game changer. Turn on your notifications, and like I said, there's still more features coming soon. So also a very, very big partnership announcement today with Bright Funded. So make sure to check out the socials and your email as well. You can sign up for the newsletter in the bio, and see you all in the next video. Cheers.